Hi, I'm Gillian Jones from Business Day. I'm here in Rosebank with Johannes Grosskopf of PwC. We're discussing the Banana Skins survey. Johannes, can you tell me what that actually means?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting name, and the phrase was coined quite a few years ago. It really focuses on what banks can slip up on. So what are the risks that banks are worried about, and that's why it's called Banana Skins. It's a survey done across the world, 49 countries, over 650 respondents. So it's a very wide-ranging set of views from risk managers across the world.
I see in South Africa the number one risk is political interference. Is that correct? And can you explain what exactly that means?
Yeah, so it's actually globally also the number two risk. And it's really the wave of regulation that's been thrown at banks. So banks are worried not just necessarily with the actual regulations, because a lot of the regulation has got well-intended consequences, but what about all the regulation that's thrown at banks? And banks are just warning that they're spending too much time on regulation.
One of the issues we hear a lot in South Africa is concerns about unsecured lending.
Unsecured lending per se didn't show up. Credit risk has dropped. So globally, credit risk was the second highest risk in the previous survey. It dropped to 7th. In South Africa, it's dropped to 5. So credit risk is still if you compare that to all the other risks, there are 30 risks that we provide. It's still high, but it has subsided in its severity because of where we are in the financial cycle. So banks have worked out those old loans, but there are still some non-performing loans left.
Would this ongoing platinum strike have an effect on our banks, their risk?
The mining sector is a sector that's obviously under stress. That has a number of sectors that depend on it. So from a lending perspective, banks are looking at that very closely and making sure that the exposures that they have are well diversified, not concentrated.